I know. Almost there. All right, so I put together this great little...
Good afternoon, everyone.
It's working.
It's working?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mfon Akpan. Thank you for attending my presentation, Increasing Classroom Engagement with Adobe Spark. We will begin with an intro and bio. We'll have a discussion about today's classroom. We'll look at media resources, and then we'll wrap up and take any questions and discussion. Let's get started.
All right, well, that's
Good
a little
afternoon,
taste of Adobe Spark. And that's what I'd like to talk to everyone today about. We've gone through our, and if you don't mind, we're videotaping. It's just the camera's just on me, so if you don't mind that. But we've gone through the intro, and thank you for that, and I thank you for your patience with everything with the technology and the plug. So, just to tell you a little bit more about myself, as I mentioned before, my main focus is accounting. I'm also a doctoral student, and that's my major, is accounting. Something about me, I love to teach, love technology, love online learning, love research, and I love accounting. And what really moved me to start using social media, and not only in the online classroom, but in the face-to-face and blended environment, is this. Where I hear from students, you know, I took this accounting class, and it was boring. I don't want to get into accounting. I don't want to do this. I think this is very boring. So it motivated me to try to look for other ways to engage students, right, to get them excited about the class. And a colleague of mine, who's actually a mentor of mine, we took some time to ask our students, what are some of the issues? And we did a little informal feedback to find out what are some of these issues, what is really, you know, steering you away from the classroom or turning you away. One of the items is that there's a lot of PowerPoints. So a lot of professors are using PowerPoint slides, reading to PowerPoints. The class is not very engaging. Also, you know, there's no passion. There's no passion. We'll touch on that. There's no passion, and they don't feel inspired to learn. But before I move into this, just before we get into this part, I wanted to ask, how many people use social media? Okay, what type of social media do you use? I'm going to pick on you, Nicole.
Yeah, all of the above. Facebook, Instagram, I think I'm still on Flickr somewhere, YouTube, The only one I'm not on right now is Snapchat because it makes no sense to me.
Okay, great. Great. I saw some other hands.
Twitter, Facebook,
Yeah.
sometimes Instagram.
Twitter, Facebook. Anybody else?
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Good.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and yeah, that's probably about it at the moment.
Okay, great. Anybody else? Now, let me ask you this question. Who uses social media in the classroom? Oh, okay, this is great. I'll start from the back. How do you use it? What do you use and how do you use it?
I learned from an architecture professor I use Facebook, believe it or not, but it's a private group, so you don't have to be friends with them. And I teach media and cinema and really visual arts. So that's very effective, and you can email your students, but if you put something on Facebook, 12 people see it in 30 seconds.
Right.
And then since I teach a social media class, my students are using social media to learn from it and critique it and study it, so we end up using all kinds of social media. But I think the bread and butter, and then I use some of the new Spark stuff you're going to show us. But Facebook private group is actually a pretty nice addition to the traditional elements.
Gotcha. How do you use Spark?
I used it for a couple of lectures. I used the Spark pages, but then I have my students create memes and infographics and things like that. PictoSharp too, but Spark is really easy for students to use and faculty.
Gotcha. Good. I saw some other hands. Thank you.
I've just done it with social bookmarking, Digo. So having students build out, a list of useful websites related to the class using Digo. Also, I've used PBWorks to build a wiki with my students.
Okay, that's great. That's great.
I also teach social media, so outside of that class, because we do a lot there, I use Twitter in, I teach event planning and convention management service, so I use Twitter in that class to kind of mimic how many of you are tweeting during this conference, besides me, a handful, to mimic that experience because it's something that's very relevant to the industry right now. And we use Facebook groups for the whole program, not class specific, but to communicate with all of our students.
Thank you.
So, was there anyone else? I have one more question. What type of feedback did you get from the students in those classes? I'm just asking the three of you guys.
For me, I got some pushback from students who didn't want to learn something new. So maybe because I wasn't using Facebook, something they already knew. But I think then there were others who liked learning a new tool. So just varied.
New to as far as the Facebook or the?
Well, I don't use Facebook. I
Or
use
the
Digo and
Digo,
PBWorks,
okay,
and
gotcha.
so none of my, some of my students didn't even know what a wiki was.
I
Or
got you.
social bookmarking, they'd never been exposed to it before.
Gotcha.
So there was some pushback, but most of them were fine with it and liked learning something new.
Gotcha. What about the Facebook?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense in my class to use it. The Facebook is interesting because some students use Facebook less than others, but invariably, especially if you're teaching juniors and seniors, they're sort of forced to use Facebook. There's sometimes these stories of students are using Facebook less, but if the experience is all the resident student organizations, corporations, the university, the colleges, everybody uses Facebook. So I've had students who say, well, I only use Facebook for school stuff. So my experience is every student at a big university uses Facebook some way. And whether it's an LMS or Facebook, it depends on how you use it. If you get pushback, it's if you're not using it very thoughtfully or you're forcing students to do something they don't like, they're going to complain whatever the platform is.
Okay. Fair enough. Nicole, any?
I've been using Twitter for a really long time in that class, and the first year I used it, I got some pushback, but it wasn't mandatory, so I wasn't worried about the pushback. I didn't have to do it. And the pushback came because my students weren't on Twitter at that point. I only had a handful. And the first tweet that went out from the class was about the shoes I had on that day in the class and not about the class material.
So they like your shoe? They like your shoes?
I'm a shoe person, yeah. I'm a shoe girl. But over the years, they caught on to it and they understand how it's relevant to the industry, and that's really kind of the objective for me to use it, at least that one. So.
Gotcha. That's good. Thank you so much. when we think about our students and we think about really when we hear these terms, baby boomer, Generation X, and millennials, there's some interesting statistics. So I don't know if you can see right there when we talk about tech savviness, who do we see as leading the way for tech savviness? Yeah, the millennials, right? Millennials, which I think is very interesting. The Gen X kind of falls in between in most of the categories when we look at generating revenue, relationship building, problem solving, adaptability, and then collaboration. But really, when we look at these millennials, we see they're very strong with technology. Another point is when we think about these millennials, they spend at least 18 hours a day consuming media. You know, if you think about that, that's a lot of time, right? And when we think about looking for ways to connect with students or engagement, and this is just my opinion, I think it's more than actually scheduling office hours or taking emails or talking to students on the phone. You have to think about where they are most of the time. And they're actually using social media. So I say you have to think about, we mentioned Twitter, Facebook, I'm a big Snapchat person, you know, Instagram. So we have to think about these social media outlets as ways to connect with students. So this is where I come to the whole Adobe Spark. And really this, for me, it's a tool. So it's a means to an end. So this, I found Adobe Spark to be a very easy way to create media or videos. So if you saw the video, that introduction video, it took me maybe not even 5 minutes to actually put that together for you today. So it's got music, it's got it puts everything together in a great format. Now the downfall with that is anybody use that as far as the closed captioning and when we get into the ADA compliance. So that's why I say it's a way to, a means to an end, in the sense I use this to help me to create media, which I can then post in other areas. But when I'm making these Spark videos, it actually, I wind up in YouTube. So you wind up in YouTube where I can actually do the closed captioning and then maneuver it from there. But this helps me to create those videos and those tools, and that's why I wanted to really just talk to you today and maybe open this up to you, because one thing, it's a great way to increase engagement. You know, it's fun. You can make little introductory videos. You can do quick lessons. The great thing about it, it's repeatable. Students can go back to it, watch it over and over again. You can tailor it to your class. And the amazing thing about it, all of this technology, you know how much it costs you?
It's free.
It's totally free. So you can use this. It's a great way to enhance the class, and it's easy to sign up for. It takes just a couple of minutes to sign up for it. The other thing is, you start, when you think about using this social media and using media in general, you start creating a brand. And what I mean by that is students recognize, hey, you know, Professor so-and-so, you know, they actually use social media. They connect with us on Twitter. They use Facebook. They're actually taking the effort to connect with us. The other thing with the Spark is you've got to be kind of, it gives you 10 seconds to actually do each segment of a video. We can go into that a little bit if time permits. So you have to be concise and you have to be on point with what you're looking to do with the video and using it. And again, it's great in creating course content. And again, it goes back to what I talked about as far as accessibility. It creates, you're reaching out to students to where they're at most of the time. They're 18 hours a day looking at media, you're reaching out to them in a medium that they can understand. Excuse me. Another key point that I want to talk about, especially when using media, that I think we may not think about. The first is we know we're getting access to students, right? So we're reaching out to the students. They're getting access to us as well. So that goes both ways. The other point that I think is key is that we're getting a lot out of this. And we get something called data. So if you think about it, if you've ever heard it in marketing when they talk about unstructured data, when you're using this social media, you're getting a lot of data. You know who went to your post, you know how many times they viewed it, you know who's a member, you know who's not a member. So I don't know if any of you ever have any reviews or you sit down and talk to someone about your course, but how powerful is it for you to be able to actually come to the meeting and you have your own data? Does that make sense? Outside of whatever learning management system information might be there, you can sit down and say, well, hey, listen, I've got so many students. We talked about Facebook. They're in my Facebook group, right? We interact this many times. When we talk about these Spark videos, I normally maneuver them to YouTube, right? So I can say, well, hey, this video where I'm talking about accounting, this accounting principle, I've got 30 views, 40 views from my students. This is how many students have actually, they're following me, on Facebook or on YouTube. So you have your own data and you can actually come to the table and show your own engagement source. And many times what I've found is that if you look at the data in the learning management system, it may tell a different story when you actually look at your data. Does that make sense? No? Okay. So some best practices I would say as far as using media in general is to have a strategy, to have a strategic plan. And what I mean by that is if you're going to decide to use social media or media in your course, do it all the way, right? Map it all the way out on what you're going to do. And that creates consistency and continuity. Now, it creates that access we talked about for the student, but it also creates a constant stream of data for you, right? And you'll begin to have a system that's put together that matches your teaching style. The other point is, I always say, strive to create quality content. It may take time to actually put together your own content, but strive to have your own quality content, which helps to build your own personal brand. The other, which I like to do, I'm always giving kudos or being very positive when I'm putting out videos or any type of material. And I think that says volumes, and that sets the tone also for the course. Any questions?
Show us how it works.
Yeah.
Show us how it works? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's pretty straightforward. Let's go in here. If you sign up, if you go to Adobe Spark Video, it's actually an app in the Adobe suite. So it's one of the free Adobe apps along with, now, if you pay, there's a subscription which you can, as an educator, if I'm not mistaken, it's I think $19.99 a month for an educator subscription. You get access to Photoshop and other applications.
So it's part of the Creative Cloud?
Yes, the Creative
Okay.
Cloud, I'm sorry. Yes, the Creative Cloud. To get in here, just to show you the video that I put together for you guys, you actually, once you sign in, let me just go back to it. Once you sign in, you're able to go to the main page, and really you get in here, you click plus. You like to create a video. So once you get in here, you're able to look for themes. So you can choose on the right side. You can look at the themes that you'd like to use, and you can change this anytime. When we go down here, you actually have your, I call it frames. So you have your frames where you can go in, you can either add a picture, text, or video. So if we go in here, we can type in.
It's kind of like Adobe's version of PowerPoint in a way that creates a video.
I would say yes, but it's pretty cookie cutter because it gives you the music. You've got preset music which you can add and change. You can record on it, and it creates a whole video which you can then share in social media.
Okay.
It's all like, and the backgrounds with photos and stuff, it's all like copyright cleared and everything already, so you don't have to deal with, yeah.
By posting it on YouTube.
Right. So you get in here, you create your videos, you can change your themes. Like all technology, if it will. Let's see here.
And there were two other options besides video. The page and post.
You mean the music?
No, actually, when you were at the Spark screen, it seemed like there were two other creation options.
Those were other apps.
Okay. Post and page.
It's loading. The beauty of technology. But the great thing about it, just as you saw, you can actually go in there and within.
Oh, sorry.
Well, it's hers is working.
Well,
Just to try it, right?
oh, you got it going.
I'm sorry.
All right, no problem. That's great. Can we see? Did you put?
Oh, I didn't do anything, but it started the music right away. And then I shut it down because I'm just so embarrassed.
No.
Do you have to essentially use their music, their images, or
You can
from outside?
You can upload your video, your images. You can record, just as you saw in the video that I made, I recorded my voice over their music. You can have no music, so that's up to you. But it is I guess this isn't loading, but it is a.
It seems to do the same thing as some other things like Camtasia and with a little more simplicity.
Yeah.
Right.
For those who have Office 365, this is their response to Sway, Microsoft Sway.
Yeah. Trying to see if we can get it.
What is finance? Finance is the management of money. Stewardship is the ethical responsibility to manage resources. Fiduciary means trust, and it is a legal and ethical responsibility to manage resources. Finance is the management of money.
So here's a video I used for a finance class. So after making this, and I can use various images, then I'll actually save this as an MP4, and then I'll upload it to YouTube. So if I decide to edit it a little more, I can do it there, and then I can post it to where I'd like to maneuver it. The great thing is, as I mentioned before, the students, the feedback that I receive from the students with the Spark, with the videos, is the fact they can go back and they can review it. It's something that they can keep watching over and over again. So if they have a question, it's, you know, if they can't remember something, they can go back and look at the video. That's the great, I think, thing about using media like this. The great thing for me, I'm a big YouTuber. So I've got probably over 300 videos on YouTube. And I think someone mentioned about Microsoft Office. I used to, things like this, I would use PowerPoint, make a PowerPoint video, and put that together, record that, save that, you know, to MP4, then upload that to YouTube. Which, yeah, it was a lot of steps, and it took me a lot of time to actually put that together. With this, as I mentioned, I can put the similar type of video together in just, I mean, literally minutes. And it's got music, it's, you know, put photos, you can add effects, you can change it around. So I think when I discovered this and started using it, I thought it was amazing to me.
And you can upload your own, like, homemade videos. If you have students make videos, can you upload those to there?
You can
easily?
upload videos here, but they put a 10-second, there's a limit. So when it talked about concise, you've got a maximum time for each one of these frames of 10 seconds.
Okay.
So you can push it over a little, you know, you can go over it, but it gives you 10 seconds, then you move to the next frame.
Okay.
So you can keep adding frames, but it gives you a limit to it.
But that's per frame, but these frames can be stitched together.
Yes, yes, that's
Create a longer video. Or...
exactly. And that's what happened with this video here. So if you look down here, you can see these are all of the frames to the video. So the first one, it's 2 seconds, and you can adjust the length for that. But when you're recording your voice, it matches the time that you record onto that frame. So if you see the first frame, it's 2 seconds. And then it moves to this image, and then it goes to stewardship and fiduciary. But again, for me, the great thing about it, if I were to do this, and I don't know if anybody's used PowerPoint, made PowerPoint videos before, for me to put this together, then go back, record it, I mean, you know, it's pretty tedious. And then you have to think, with this, at click of a button, if I want to change the background or the theme, I can do that with a click of a button to make that happen.
Can you tell us caption it?
That's the problem. So that's where
You gotta do that on
YouTube.
YouTube.
That's where YouTube comes into play.
But
So
you
that's
have
what
to redo your, I mean, it uses the voice recognition in YouTube, and then you have to go in and edit.
right,
Okay.
exactly. So that's why I said it's a means to an end.
Sure.
Where this is a very efficient tool in putting together the media, but in the end I wind up back at YouTube.
Can you click the share button and let us see what the formats are to save
Sure,
it?
it'll take you to,
I'm assuming that's how you put it into MP4, right?
yes. Let me see here. I would download it. It'll download it as an
Okay.
MP4.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
And then
Could you share it on like Facebook?
it had on my account, it has a direct link to Twitter. So you can put it on Twitter, you can email it. Again, the MP4, what I would do, for me, I would save it again, YouTube, and then move it to post it on Facebook.
Can you
the
import?
link.
Can you import from PowerPoint or from Google Slides what you already have into there, or do you have to start from scratch?
The images?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yes.
mean, it all at the same time, not
To do
just
slide
slide.
by
You have to do
slide.
side by slide? Okay.
I did slide by slide.
Okay, no,
So if
okay.
let me see if I can get back to the.
Yes, you can.
If we look at the initial video,
Voice option.
that I put together for you guys. So if you want to take a look at this video.
Good afternoon.
So I
everyone.
did take the slides, but I had to take an image of it. So I saved it as a
attending my
JPEG and then
presentation.
uploaded
Increasing
this
classroom
slide.
engagement.
You did it frame by frame.
Right.
Yeah.
We will
I was
begin
wondering if you could do
with
it all at
an
once,
intro
like you
and
can
bio.
PowerPoint to present.
We'll have a discussion about today's classroom.
So save a
We'll
PowerPoint
look at media
video.
resources, and then we'll
No, the
wrap
whole
up
presentation.
No, I have it.
take any questions and discussion. Let's
You
get
only got
started.
10 seconds to a slide.
10 seconds, I pushed it a little. It tells you 10 seconds, but actually one of these slides, I pushed it longer than 10 seconds and it went through. But the maximum it gives you is that 10-second per each slide.
And that's the downside.
Well, you know, there's pluses and minuses. Pluses and minuses. But yes.
Once your presentation, everything, all your text comes on at the same time, right? Does it have a feature where you can bring the text in at different steps?
You mean where it was moving
Yours
around?
just goes like your whole text appeared on the screen
Right.
at the same time.
Mhm.
Whereas like in PowerPoint Mix, you can bring
I
in
see what you're saying.
sections of text on at a time. Does this do that?
Good question. It depends on the theme.
Okay.
So this theme that I chose actually, it moves the text. You saw how it was moving in and out. That was the theme that I chose. If we try another theme, and the great thing is you can play with these. You click a button, we move to another theme.
Good
So now
afternoon,
the text is
everyone.
moving
My name is
from
Mfon.
side to side.
Thank you for attending my presentation. Increasing classroom
So it's
engagement
flowing
with Adobe
side to side.
Spark. We
That-
will begin.
The control you have over it
intro
is
and
the
bio.
control of choosing the
We'll
theme.
have a discussion about today's classroom. We'll look at media resources, and then we'll wrap up and take any questions and discussion.
So if you want
Let's
to
get
put
started.
one of these little 10-second videos in your learning management system, you save it to YouTube and then put the link to YouTube in your Blackboard.
Yes. What I do for every one of my classes, and the students, they love this, I put together like an intro video for the class. So, and then I'll post an announcement with the video, and then they'll get it, you know, if they log in, or they'll get an email with this link. So, you know, this is for a finance class. So the students think it's, you know, funny, they enjoy it. One of the biggest feedbacks I get is students say, well, wow, you know, you took all that time to put together this video for us. You know, that's really nice. But they don't know it took me maybe about 5 minutes to do. I don't tell them that, but, you know, it's just a great way to enhance the classroom. Yes?
I just wanted to add, when Spark first came out, I was a little confused by it. Adobe was even showing it to us, because I go back there, and Spark is 3 things, and you've done a great job today showing us
The video,
piece.
right.
But the other 2 things are the page.
Okay, I think that's what you,
pose.
right.
So it's 3 different things, and so that's going to be a little, and then it's on the Mac or the PC, it can be on your laptop, it can be on an iPad. So, but always remember, it's 3 different things.
Right.
So the video is really powerful. Page, for me, is more like PowerPoint in terms of presenting slides in class. And so I and some colleagues have used the Spark page, and it runs, and it sort of starts at the top